Hey everyone, and welcome to another Yogi Misfit Session. My name is Danny Pomploon, and I'm your host. Today is episode 37, and I have, yep, you heard it here first, the creator of Broga. Yeah, you've used the word. I'm sure you've heard it before. But yeah, Rob Sidoti is on the show today. I had the pleasure of meeting Rob a few years back when they were doing the Broga thing. I got really excited about it and wanted to help out. I thought it was a really cool way to get men into their bodies. He's a super solid dude. He's got a really cool story. I love how he talked about Broga and how it came into fruition. And more importantly, he's just really passionate about this stuff and about helping other dudes. So without further ado, let's get to the episode. And of course, if you like the show, please leave a review, share it with your friends. And if you want to be a guest on the show, feel free to reach out. Without further ado, here goes. Rob, welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, first off, it's been way too long since one, I've talked to you, and two, seen you.
Yeah, I know. When's the last time I saw you?
Oh my God.
Was it actually in Boston?
Yeah, the last time I saw you was in Boston, and I want to say it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
No, five, something like that, 5 or 6 years.
It feels like that. It feels like a while.
Yeah. So, Robert Sidoti, the Brogy, the official Brogy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've been called worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, been going at the Broga thing for quite a few years now. It feels great.
I mean, obviously, that's pretty much all we're talking is about
Yep.
Broga. But one, I feel like I know the Broga story and how it started. I know it really well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I feel like people listening to the show need to find out how the hell Broga started. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
What the fuck happened? Why? Why did somebody create this thing called Broga?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, it was created because I've been practicing yoga for several years. I'm 47 now. I think I started, loosely in around 27, 28. So about 20 years. And as I started practicing and, years kept sort of building on and I kept looking around and like, where are all the guys, man?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, this is like 98, 90, 97, 98, and then, and so on. And it was just, honestly, it's just like, why aren't there more guys practicing? What's the holdup? What's the problem here? This is amazing. It's so fun. It's an amazing exercise. All the benefits are there. And I just, I figured, and long story short, how can I create something, silly name or not? A lot of people kind of balk at the name. I could care less. The program is designed to get guys in the door, and get them feeling the immediate benefits and effects of yoga. There's no other, there's nothing really else to say except for that's the intention.
Right.
I think a lot of people can get hung up on so many other things of why they think it was created or what it actually is. Right. But at the end of the day, it's simple. Just one other form of yoga. It's just put this in a box and maybe some more guys will show up. Right. That's
right.
it.
Right.
And so it's just taking some experience, my experience over the years and creating a program that I think, benefits guys. But the thing is, man, is that not too soon or not too long after it was created, a lot of women started to really come to the classes and dig it. So we started to look around and go, all right, this is cool. So it's not just for, the marketing of yoga over so many years as yoga was sort of came into the West was really, driven toward women, and maybe not all women were getting it. And so as we created Broga, we noticed that a lot of women were kind of digging our vibe as well, like simple, accessible, not too fluffy or overly spiritual, just a good workout really with the yoga benefits. And so a lot of women were finding that, I dig this, I want to do this. And, so it started to suit both men and women.
So I'm going to backtrack you a little bit. Tell the story of like where the Broga name came from.
Oh yeah, and so this is great, because
It is great.
the co-founder is Adam O'Neill, right? He and
Mhm.
I co-founded this, and the backstory is my personal side, and then I'll kind of try to sum it up with Adam's as well. Is I'm out in California. I've been doing yoga for several years. I'm with like my bros. We all grew up together, and every year I live on the East Coast, so I go out west and see them. It's warmer, spend time with them, catch up. And so this usually happens around like a grill session, like we're grilling big fat ribeyes and having red wine and drinking beer and talking about whatever we talk about. And so, of course, as you probably know, and anyone else who's into yoga, people ask me, "So, what are you up to? What have you been up to?" "Oh, man, I'm just doing yoga all the time." And they kind of balk at it and make their funny remarks because that's what guys who don't know anything about it might do,
Right.
you know. And one of the guys just simply said, he's like, "What about the bros, man? What about Broga?" And so that was the first time I'd ever heard the word Broga. And I thought, oh my God, I laughed because it's hysterical.
Right.
And then I thought, wow, this is perfect. What a great idea. And so from that moment, that's when the name Broga kind of came into my atmosphere. I didn't do much with it right away. And then, so that's in the winter. The following summer, I run into Adam, who is like a kind of a casual friend of mine. I don't really know that well, but I've seen around the island and whatnot. And we're at a barbecue, and he asked me, "So what are you up to? What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm been doing a lot of yoga, and without me saying the word broga, he said, "Well, hear me out on this. What do you think?" He's like, "I had a bad back, and I played lacrosse, and my mom was a yoga teacher, and I never, ever, ever did wanted to do anything that she offered because she had the name or the label yoga around it." And he thought, it's for girls, whatever. I don't want to do that. So he suffered in back pain rather than do these awesome movements that his mom offered him. So he said to me, "What about Broga? You ever thought about that?" And so there's like two different people in my life within a 6 month span bringing up to me, "You ever thought about like something called Broga?" And I looked at him and I was like, "That is so crazy you just brought that up," because a buddy of mine just did the same thing. And so between Adam bringing it up and my boy in California bringing it up, I couldn't ignore it. And so I sat on it a little bit more, and then I started to think about like, all right, what would that look like? The name is one thing, but you've got to have an actual program behind it,
Sure. Sure.
So I started to think about different ways in which you would move and how you could take and draw from yoga, but also maybe alter it a little bit or simplify it and break it down and make it really like really, meet the men, meet the guys where they are. And it kind of grew from that,
Right.
it grew from that. And I taught my first class on Martha's Vineyard in 2009 in February. And I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never even taught an actual yoga class or
Sure.
led any kind of group fitness program. And here I am leading 25 people in this like Broga class. And, about 80% stayed on. And that's how it kind of grew from there on Martha's Vineyard. And then long story short, Adam and he connected with me once he saw that I was doing something with it, and we decided to take it to Boston. And man, it was rough. I live on Martha's Vineyard, and it takes me a long time to get up to Boston. And so we decided to teach a 10 a.m. class on a Saturday.
Hmm.
So that means I've got to get on a 6 a.m. boat, then a 7 a.m. bus. I get up there around 9:30. I've got to walk 15, 20 minutes after taking the subway. I get there about 10 to 10, get the room ready, and one person shows up.
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
then we just build from there, man. And before you know it, we've got in the Northeast, I don't even know how many teachers and classes and students we've got on a daily. Um, and it just took an idea, it took some hard work, and it still takes more ideas and more hard work and more commitment and belief to know that like we're doing something, whether you love the name or not, we're doing something um, of value. We're sharing something of service and value that I know has made a difference in my life and a lot of other lives. So I just love it, man. I love it.
That's awesome, man. I know that like when I first heard about it, I kind of like digged into it and reached out to you guys, and it was still in like the very very growth phases and whatnot. And to see
Yeah.
where it started, and and I've seen its growth, not necessarily being directly connected to it, but just keeping an eye on it, like to see
Yeah.
where it started and where it's at now is just insane.
Yeah, man, it's really cool. And I just, props to you for seeing it and wanting to dig into it a little bit and taking a flight out to Boston to visit us. And we're like literally writing the manual. You're coming out to do a teacher training, and you've done a teacher training prior to that, which was an awesome training, and so
Yeah.
you come in with experience. You're not some dummy. And you're coming in, and we're like writing it literally as we're walking down the street with you, and we're doing what we can, and we're just pumped to have somebody who actually was like super interested in becoming a teacher and who wanted to share it with other people. And obviously, I think it could have been a better training for you all around, but I think it was perfect the way it was. I'm sure you took from it what you needed to take from it, and we obviously learned from it. And that was a long time ago. And to see now how we go around, I've traveled, around the globe now doing these teacher trainings and retreats and workshops, and it's there's still a lot of things I could be doing to make it better and grow and create new programming, but it has come a long way, and I think it's because it's legit. There's space out there for something like this.
So
You know,
where do you see this going now? Like, what's the end goal for you?
well, one of the things to make more of a difference, and that seems like this such a vague thing, to make more of a difference, but uh, to connect with more people, to get it online in a bigger way. And that's one of the things we've done recently is we've actually we merged a real merger with Yoga for Men. There's a company called Yoga for Men.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I've heard of them. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, great guys. They're down in Florida. You can check their Facebook page out. It's actually now collectively our Facebook page. And so, the end goal right now, the plan is turned into we're creating this, and this is by no means a plug necessarily, but I guess it could be, but it's something called YFM.TV.
Hmm.
And it's a way to get the programming out there online in a bigger way. So not unlike a lot of the other online programs out there where you sign up for a monthly subscription,
Right.
you pay to get the videos online. So we've taken their content and our content and put it together for what I think is an awesome subscription based program. And that's one way. Number one, as you got to hustle. And anyone else out there in the yoga world, like, you got to hustle. You've got to create. You're not going to necessarily be making a lot of money if you don't do certain things. You can't just show up to a class and wait for people to show up and then expect to be able to pay your rent
Right.
and be able to pay for food. So there's different ways. It's just a reality that we have to accept, is like, okay, how can I make money off of this while still maintaining some integrity and authenticity, and still, know that we're doing some right in the world.
Right.
So having this online thing, it just makes it more, we touch more people. And if that turns into something, that just means it's a little bit more of an opportunity to make myself feel more comfortable financially, the rest of us, and to be able to do even better programming, better content. So the near end game is to really polish that quite a bit. And for me to continue to offer the things that I really love to offer, which is I want to continue to offer retreats in Costa Rica and around the United States and anywhere else I feel like doing it. I want to live an awesome life. I just do. And this really kind of, this helps in that, because I get to do exactly what I love to do and make a little bit of money and meet, the currency is the relationships, as how many people have you met, and how many people have you met where it's like fed your life in a way that money or nothing else can really like substitute, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So the end game will be the end game. We want to continue to grow. That means we grow, we affect more people in a positive way. But my end game is really like just continuing to live the most badass, awesome life I can through continuing to create new programming and whatnot for Broga. So that's really That's really it. I try not to look too far ahead. It's a problem of mine, though. That's why I've got Adam on my side. Is he looks ahead, and I kind of stay right here in the moment, and enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah, I feel that. Let me ask you this too, like while we're on it. So what makes Broga different? Like
Yeah,
what
great
makes
question.
so for the person that's listening to the show being like, well, that's a load of shit. Yoga is yoga. Everyone should do yoga, blah, 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 blah. I know it, but what makes Broga different?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think over time um, I've learned how to answer it. But what I will say, and as you know, it's really hard to say to compare it, to put it up against yoga because yoga looks so different, across the board. Are you talking about how is it different from a power yoga class? How is it different from a restorative yoga class or this lineage or that lineage? So it's difficult to compare it or to say how it's different. What I could say is sort of just explain what it is.
Sure.
And right now we have two actual sort of realized programs that we train people in or that we teach. One of them is what we kind of call the standard Broga workout. And what that is comprised of is sort of like a hatha vinyasa blend. Well, the blend is it's three pieces. It's hatha vinyasa, right? Movement, breath, stretching, that kind of thing,
Right.
the breath work.
Right.
Mixed with some actual real functional movements, the lunging, the squatting, the pushing, the pressing, or pushing, pulling, twisting, bending, and gait, right? So we take the functional movements, blend them into the program of the vinyasa, which is already there in some ways. And then to add some kind of unique thing that I just absolutely love is a short 5 to 7 minute high intensity interval moment.
Okay.
And it's, because what we're doing here is we're trying to look at the people who are actually kind of digging Broga. And what they're looking for is they are looking for in the beginning, they're looking for a workout. They're looking for that yoga workout. They're looking for the stronger body. They're looking to make some change, lose weight. So we're kind of meeting them where they are. They're not necessarily looking to chant yet. They're not looking to necessarily look too deep within, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're giving them this sort of like surface workout, which is what I came for in the beginning. Oh man, I want that workout. That looks amazing. And then
Right.
it felt amazing. So it's like, give them what they're sort of like, think they really want, right? In a very like accessible, straightforward, not super bendy, really like accessible is the word I always go back to.
Yeah.
So we take that blend, that little tri blend of those things, and we put it into either a 60-minute or an hour and a half program, depending on where they might be teaching, whether it's a gym or a yoga studio, etc.
Sure.
And then the other program, because over time I realized, like, all right, there are a lot of people who dig the idea of Broga but don't want to work out. They actually want to stretch. They want to relax and chill and restore. So I created a Broga program called Broga Chill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really just moving through, just a couple of sunays, some mellow movement, slow moving, conscious stretching, conscious breath work. And again, nothing pretzel-like, nothing super complicated, just really necessary target area movement and stretching. And the back end is sort of like that binaural beat concept. Mm-hmm. So in the background, the music is affecting them in a way that you don't even realize. So we're really getting into like the parasympathetic, the stress response, the tension that, stress kills, and it kills a lot of men and women. But, I think when men start coming into like a Broga Chill style class, they don't even realize how much stress they've been carrying for so many years, with these expectations of money and family and taking care of and doing. So it's those are the two main programs. So I can't really compare or say how it's different, but I hope that was clear. Those are the things that we teach other instructors how to teach their people.
Yeah. And how many instructors are there now?
There are, I think, trained a lot. People who are active licensees.
Right.
That's the business model. probably close to 300,
Okay.
over in Asia or in California or, in the UK or South Africa. They're kind of everywhere. They're just sprinkled around the globe. Um, so yeah, that's the kind of the business model. It's like we do the training, they get to pay the licensing fee, and that enables them to call it Broga. And if they're like, all right, I don't really want to pay the licensing fee, they can take the training and call it whatever they want.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah. Yeah.
some people find that it's really valuable to call it Broga because they're filling their classes.
Right. Right.
So, and then there's some studios that are like, all right, I love the concept. I like the workout aspect. I like that standard Broga series, but you can't call it Broga because I
Right.
hate the name.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
that's cool too. I'm just like in the beginning, man, like when you were around and a little further after that, when we were written up a ton, you'd start to read the comments, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. Start to read the comments, and it's like people were trashing the name and blah, blah, blah. And I start to get a little offended. And then I realized I got to stay away from that. Trust that we're doing the right thing. And, so plenty of people out there in the yoga world who see the name and just feel like it's another trend or another fad or some guy out there who doesn't give a shit about yoga, who's just bastardizing this thing. But, at the end of the day, my experience with yoga is there. I believe in it. It's changed my life. I don't come from I know we don't have that much time, but I don't have a story. I don't have a story of my back was broken or I was addicted to drugs or I came from a poor this or a terrible that. I just started practicing in my mid to late 20s, realizing how amazing it is.
Right.
And over time, it's affected me in my life in these exponential, wild ways through my relationship with my ex-wife, my child, my family. It's just an incredible practice. And it really comes down to, I want to be able to share that with more people, so we can, live as optimally as we can.
And you don't have to have, a crazy wild story to get into yoga. Some of us do and some of us don't. And I think that either way is more than okay. I think the more people practicing yoga, the better. The more people we can actually get moving there. I don't care how we get people, I always say this as my mission. People are like, what do you want to do? I'm like, just get more people. I want to change the world one down dog at a time. The more people we can get onto their mats,
Yep.
I get this feeling if we can get people to be in their bodies, we can get people to be in their hearts and their minds. Yeah. And, that's where the transformation starts to happen. So whether, you came from a broken home or not, or whatever, who cares? Just get on the mat.
Yeah, exactly. And, one of the things that I trust, and in the beginning, in our Broga training, we try to stay, language is a huge part of it. We try to stay away from using heart center and anything related to that. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I don't believe in it. I'm all heart, man. I'm all heart. But is that what Joe from such and such is coming for initially? Because he needs to connect to his heart center?
Right.
No, it's because he needs to stretch his goddamn fucking hips and his back is killing him. But what's underlying, as you were just getting to, he's starting to move and connect, and there is becoming a connection to the heart center without us having to even talk about it. Yeah. There's change and transformation happening. So when he goes home after this Broga session or whatever session he goes to, he might look at his kids in a different way. He might look at the people at the bank a different way, his wife or boyfriend or whoever, without even talking about manifesting more love in his life.
Right.
So that's something that people ask about in the training. Well, why don't you use heart? And why? Because it's happening. You get people and connecting, it's almost impossible to ignore it. So it's a trust thing. I just trust that it's happening. It's all happening. You can just get them moving, breathing, feeling, and it's just it's just so fun to be part of it. So cool to watch people and watch. You kind of wonder also as you teach, I sit there and I'll look at somebody. I'm like, I wish there was a room full of these those little thought bubbles, because it's so interesting to see and kind of imagine what different people are thinking about. And some people are thinking about their grocery list, and other people are thinking you know what, I need to make massive change in my life, or whatever. So it's just so cool.
And someone else is like, I really got to fart.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't fart. Don't fart. Don't fart. Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good, man. So good. Rob, I'm so thankful to have you on the show today, man, and to share what you're doing and what your mission is. I think it's super important. Like I said, I don't care what you call it or how you get them there, just get them there. Like it's so important to get more people on the mat, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. And thank you, my man. Thank you. And hey, I'm gonna be around those parts sometime in December. If I'm, this is we can have our own side conversation, but I'd love to come out and take a class with you and connect. Maybe have a bite.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. You just say the word, I'm there.
All right, my man.
Until the next Yogi Misfit session, this is Rob and Danny saying peace out.
Yeah, peace out, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.